First, get started with the Dalal Street action where markets saw a big pullback rally fueled by a strong Asian cues and thus snapping their three-day losing streak. So Nifty rallied about 1.5% and the Sensex ended just shy of that 10,800 mark. That's the Nifty for you. Sensex also reclaiming 36,000. Broader market slightly underperforming compared to both the Bank Nifty and the Mid-Cap Nifty, ending with gains of around 0.3%. Surbhi Upadhyay is here with key highlights of today's trading action. Surbhi, bulls charging ahead clearly, ending 3-day of consolidation.
What a solid day of trade, and one that really announced the revival of the bull charge, if one could actually say that, with a lot of caveats. The good point was there was no volatility today. The interesting aspect is now this market is running into its litmus test. The Nifty will have to contend with the zone of 10,950, and that is where the bulls have lost momentum several times over in the last 2 odd months. What worked today in terms of stocks? It is technology all the way. You're talking large cap, mid caps on the Nifty. For instance, Wipro, of course, on the announcement of the bonus, added excitement over there. But Tech Mahindra, Infosys, TCS, all those stocks were up and about. But it wasn't just IT alone. It was a very well-rounded market move today. Reliance Industries was leading from the front. There was a lot of buying on Yes Bank. That continues to be one hot spot in the market. Some of the metal stocks came back because global markets were also doing very well today. So JSW Steel, Vedanta, many of these names were excited. Indiabulls Housing Finance, Bajaj Finance. These were some of the other names that found traction. In fact, there was only one key noticeable loser on the Nifty today, and that's Maruti. All the other stocks were largely on the positive side of the screen. Let me come to the mid-cap action. Again, the index has ended slightly lower than the Nifty, but don't go by that. Look beneath the surface. Lots of action. We're seeing gains on a Gujarat Gas, on First Source, on Godfrey Phillips, on Castrol, Equitas, J&K Bank, Sobha. These are just some of the examples where there was plenty of buying traction, many of these stocks ending at the highs of the day. On the losing side of the mid-cap screen, we've got some names like ICICI Securities, where there's disappointment with the earnings, Dish TV, Voltas and Havells. Some of these consumer durable stocks have had a couple of rough sessions, so that's where the profit booking was apparent. But otherwise, a very solid day, setting us up for an even more interesting tomorrow. Can bulls finally take out the 10,950 level? We'll find out.
Okay, we'll know what thanks for taking us through that. Now, from equities to currency, the Indian rupee continues to remain under pressure after opening 16 paise higher following yesterday's close of 70.93 per dollar. The rupee is now hovering above the 71 mark. Large amount of foreign outflows is seen as one of the key factors hurting the rupee as we speak. So 71 against the greenback right now. Now, the big event that global markets are focusing on this evening, British lawmakers will deliver their verdict on UK Prime Minister Theresa May's Brexit deal, and most lawmakers are likely to vote against the deal, potentially leading to a no-confidence vote against the Theresa May government. A defeat in the Parliament today will open up several uncertainties, including the option of the United Kingdom leaving the European Union without a deal or a second referendum, Brexit itself. UK Prime Minister Theresa May has issued a final appeal to lawmakers, urging them to give the Brexit deal a second look ahead to today's vote. She warned that Brexit may not happen if the deal is impassed.
When the history books are written, people will look at the decision. People will look at the decision of this House tomorrow and ask, did we deliver on the country's vote to leave the European Union? Did we safeguard our economy, our security and our union? Or did we let the British people down? I say we should deliver for the British people and get on building a brighter future for our country.
Meanwhile, markets are moving higher ahead of the crucial Brexit vote. So British FTSE is up about 0.2%. Let's pull that up for you. French CAC and German DAX are also trading with similar gains. So the German DAX about 0.7% higher, and the French CAC also about 0.1% higher. The share of Yes Bank gained more than 4% back home today, and the stock was the top gain on Nifty. The rally was fueled by reports that Ravneet Gill, the current CEO of Deutsche Bank India, is a frontrunner for the top job at the bank. Remember, the company has been searching for a new CEO after Rana Kapoor did not get RBI nod for an extension. We have our banking researcher Abhishek joining in with the details. Abhishek, what exactly are your sources telling you with respect to who the frontrunner could be here?
Sources tell CNBC TV18 that Ravneet Gill, that is the CEO of Deutsche Bank, is the #1 name in the list that has been given by the board to RBI. Now, there are two names that have been given in the order of hierarchy of preference that Yes Bank has, as to replace MD and CEO in terms of Rana Kapoor when he exits. So Ravneet Gill has led Deutsche Bank in India for 6 years and has over 30 years of experience across various banking verticals. Now, this candidature may get a swift approval by RBI, given the fact that just 6 months back, RBI had renewed the term at Deutsche Bank for Ravneet Gill. Due diligence, therefore, may reduce and time won't be taken that much with RBI. So Rajat Monga is the second candidate or the #2 name in the list, while Yes Bank has not responded to our story. Back to you.
Okay, Abhishek, thanks for that. Now, there's no end to the stress faced by power distribution companies. Discoms incurred a loss of more than 11,000 crore rupees in the first half of this financial year. That's almost 2,500 crore rupees more than the loss incurred on a yearly basis. So, outstanding dues, meanwhile, have spiked by about 24% early till October, according to official data. In an interview with CNBC TV18, the Secretary Ajay Bhalla said that a group of ministers was considering allowing power generators' dues to be met through bill discounting by PFC, REC and banks with the backstop from state governments.
From June to December, when I look at the figures, the outstanding dues quantum has increased by about 6,000 to 7,000 crores. Last year's losses were 15,000 crores after all, accounting for subsidies and all. Either it will be at the same level or maybe marginally more than that. I mean, it will be 17,000 crore or something. High-level empowered committee, which looked at certain sectoral issues vis-a-vis stress in the power sector. This is one of the recommendations of the committee that we can examine whether not only companies like PFC, REC, but even some of the banks can explore the possibility of bill discounting. So that recommendation is definitely on the table and it's being examined in consultation with the Ministry of Finance. We also want some RBI intervention in this matter actually as a backstop arrangement and all, but that is where we are still in discussion with the Ministry of Finance.
All right, let's get the big development in the aviation space. A resolution plan to resuscitate Jet Airways could be in place as early as tomorrow. We learned that the lenders to the ailing airline will meet tomorrow to chalk out a glide path. We learned that as a part of the plan, promoter Naresh Goyal is likely to step down from the board and give up majority control in the airline. Ritu Singh is here with exact details. Ritu, you were the first to break the story yesterday. Come tomorrow, Naresh Goyal could finally have to bite the bullet.
Well, yes, it does look like it under the resolution plan that is under works. Naresh Goyal, who is the current promoter with a 51% stake in Jet Airways, may have to give up majority control and his stake may almost halve to less than 26%, and he may have to give up his board position if the restructuring package is approved by all the lenders. Yes, there is a lenders meeting tomorrow, which is all the lenders of Jet Airways headed by SBI will be meeting to finally decide on the resolution plan for the company, which also involves converting part of that 8,000 crore rupees of debt into equity, which will then be held by the consortium of bankers. In addition, there will be funds brought in by Etihad Airways, which will see its stake rising from 24% to a higher amount. Of course, the exact quantum will depend on the kind of funds that they're able to bring in. Do remember, under the FDI norms in aviation, a foreign airline can hold up to 49% stake in a domestic carrier. Thirdly, we understand that Man Goyal, who is the son of Naresh Goyal, will likely replace his father on the board of Jet Airways, which is a compromise that has been reached with the lenders. So overall, this is the plan that has been worked with. Tomorrow in the meeting, there could be some concrete announcement. We're expecting this to take shape because do remember there's 1,700 crores of dues that Jet Airways has to repay lenders between now and March, and therefore the pressure on them to come to a conclusion with respect to this resolution plan is only building up.
All right, Ritu, thanks for breaking that up for us. So we will have Ritu back tomorrow to give us a lowdown on what exactly is finalized in that meeting. Now, after a failed bid to sell its stake in Air India, the government is now focused on monetizing the Maharaja subsidiaries in a bid to shore up revenue. Speaking to CNBC TV18 on the sidelines of the Global Aviation Summit, Jayant Sinha, the Minister of State for Civil Aviation, said the process of divesting stake in Air India subsidiaries were well and truly on track. That's not all. Sinha also clarified that airlines were appropriately hedged to manage the volatility in fuel prices.
We are proceeding forward. The group of ministers has made certain decisions with respect to the disinvestment of subsidiaries. That process is underway and let us wait for the results to come in. Fuel prices have been volatile for decades now, and everybody that operates in the airline industry understands that they have to take appropriate hedging and risk mitigation measures when it comes to fuel prices. So the best airlines, the best carriers are appropriately hedged. They know exactly how to manage that volatility.
Welcome back. Indian startups have been unhappy about the angel tax notices for quite some time, and they have now taken their grievances to the Prime Minister. cnbc TV 18 learns that the startup industry body iSpirit is set to send a letter to the Prime Minister on key issues on behalf of almost 100 startups in the country. Mukta Warrior is here with the details of those demands. Mukta, what exactly is the letter going to entail in terms of the demands?
The angel tax issue that has been haunting startups for many years now is set to land up at the Prime Minister's office this week. About 100 startups are going to address a letter to the Prime Minister this week asking that the angel tax issue be addressed in the upcoming budget. Now, the main demand of the startups is that they be exempted from Section 56 and Section 68 of the Income Tax Act. Section 56 has been the main cause of concern for startups since it considers the capital raised above fair market value of shares as income from other sources and hence taxable. But Section 68 also troubles startups and investors mainly because it involves giving a satisfactory explanation to the assessing officer, especially about the source of income of the investors. Now, another issue for the startups is that the benefits announced in 2016 for startups be also considered retrospectively for the companies that were founded before that. Now, remember, several industry associations and startups have written to the government in recent weeks, including to the CBDT, to the Finance Ministry, as well as the DIPP. Now, the CBDT last month said it will not take any coercive measures, while last week Suresh Prabhu said that the government is working on a solution on angel tax.
All right, thanks for taking us through that. But sticking to this space, we are going to double down on India and plan to double our workforce here in 2019. That's the word coming in from Uber Senior Director Kumal Mathani in an exclusive interview with cnbc TV 18 Mathani, who is in charge for engineering for business intelligence at Uber, also said that the company is bringing interesting new charters to India. What exactly does that mean? Here's an excerpt of this conversation with Kumal Mathani, who also features in Forbes' list of America's top 50 women technology moguls.
So let me start with giving you an anecdotal example. We just had a really amazing program that came out of Hyderabad engineering. It's called My Innovation Time. This is a time provided to engineers to work on Friday afternoons on problems they feel passionate about. This is something very unique and unheard of in the past and also unheard of in other countries. The way I see this is a very clear indicator that engineers here are not only up to date with all the technologies that is available across the globe, they have deep expertise in let's say image processing techniques. They have deep expertise in understanding the convolutional neural nets. They would love to solve problems that really matter to the lives of people here. And that level of passion and understanding of business problems, marrying it to the technology space, is something very unique to India, and we would like to leverage that more. To that extent, we are going to double down on India. We are going to literally double our engineering workforce in 2019. We are bringing interesting new charters in India, Uber Lite, Uber Eats, payments, fraud detection techniques, intelligent resolutions are few of them. We cannot talk much about the new products we will be introducing, but when you look at our past trends, this is a company that is very fast at iterating on the solutions that we want to offer. It identifies the requirements from the customers. There is a closed loop conversations with customers. We are going to introduce a lot more safety features. We are going to think about how we integrate with the local ecosystem of India and how do we weave our products deeply into the India network is going to be a huge focus in 2019.
All right, moving on, a quick look at some other headlines of the day. Setback for the BJP in Bengal. The Supreme Court has declined to give its nod for the party's proposed Rath Yatra in the state. While passing the order, the Apex Court observed that the apprehensions by the West Bengal government can't be said to be unfounded. 3 days after sealing a historic alliance with her former arch-rival BSP Supremo Mayawati continued to slam the BJP and the Congress on the occasion of her 63rd birthday today. In a public show of strength, Mayawati was also greeted by her ally Akhilesh Yadav at her Lucknow residence amid lavish celebration by her party, which also included posters saying Maya for Prime Minister. The former UP Chief Minister launched a blistering attack on BJP and Congress, calling them two sides of the same coin. Poaching politics continues in Karnataka, with both the BJP and the Congress holding emergency meetings as both sides accuse each other of trying to buy off MLAs. Over 100 Karnataka BJP MLAs have been seen at the ITC Grand Bharat Hotel in Gurgaon. BS Yedurappa is chairing a meeting with the party's top brass. Meanwhile, 4 Congress MLAs continue to be holed up in a 5-star hotel in Mumbai, with BJP leaders seen visiting the place. An entrepreneur, a bureaucrat, a politician and a tech visionary, Nandan Nilekani has donned many hats and excelled in each role. The year 2018 marked not only Nilekani's return to Infosys, but also cemented his standing in the tech world. And as we tell you, that's the least of the reasons why we have nominated Nandan Nilekani for the Lifetime Achievement Award at CNBC TV 18 India Business Leader Award 2018.
His journey started in 1978 at Patni Computers, where he was interviewed by N.R. Narayan Murthy. 3 years later, Nandan Nilekani, along with Murthy and 5 other Patni employees, started Infosys, which is now India's second largest IT company by revenues. In 2002, Nilekani became the CEO of Infosys. In his 5-year tenure at the helm, Infosys' top line grew 6-fold to cross $3 billion. In 2009, Nilekani left Infosys to take over as chairman of the Unique Identification Authority of India, a post that he accepted on the invitation of the then Prime Minister Dr. Manmohan Singh. The UIDAI developed the Aadhaar card, which overhauled India's digital ecosystem. In 2014, Nilekani joined the Indian National Congress and contested from the Bangalore South constituency. In 2017, Nilekani returned to Infosys after the then chairman R. Seshasai, co-chairman Ravi Venkatesan and CEO Vishal Sikka resigned from their positions. He then took charge of restoring investor confidence and turning around the company, hiring Capgemini's Salil Parekh in early 2018 to take on the reins of Infosys. He continues to remain the non-executive chairman of the company. Over the years, Nandan has been a serial investor with at least 12 startup investments. Nandan Nilekani and his wife Rohini donated half of their wealth to Giving Pledge, a movement organized by Bill Gates. He has also been appointed to head a digital payments panel led by the Reserve Bank of India, and that's why Nandan Nilekani has been nominated for the Lifetime Achievement Award at the CNBC TV 18 India Business Leader Award 2018.
All right, with that, it's time to wrap up this edition of After the Bell. Thank you for watching.